It's Monday, May the 2nd, King of the Mountain State Show. I'm Chase Hill. Today's episode is presented by Church's Auto Repair out of West Hamlin. I'm here with the pretty boy, Jordan Fyffe.
What's up, y'all? What's up, Chase? Thanks for having me, man.
Hey, I'm glad that you're on, man. We got a lot to talk about today, but we're going to take it all the way back to the beginning for the fans that haven't met you yet, even though you've got a big fan base. Let's tell them a little bit about how old you are, where you live at, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, my name is Jordan Fyffe. I'm 21 years old. Grew up in Ohio all my life. I'm from a small town. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with it. I'm sorry, but it's Medford, Ohio. Located in Scioto County. Our capital is like Portsmouth. I grew up here. I was born here. My family's from here, and it's been a pleasure, fighting and being from a small town and kind of, having a little small name. I wouldn't say big name, but they know who boxes in the town. It's very small. So I think I have a good support group, and I appreciate everyone, who supports me.
Well, and Ohio, as far as like, there's been a lot of big name fighters come out of small towns in Ohio. That's nothing new. That's something we see. And right there around Huntington, like from Parkersburg down to Huntington in West Virginia, just across the river there where you're at, kind of the Portsmouth area, there's a lot of boxing gyms and a lot of good fighters over the years. So that's a good spot to be at,
Oh, absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit. Those that don't know, you've been boxing for a while, even as a youth through USA Boxing. When did that begin? How did you get into combat sports and fighting and boxing? How did you end up putting the gloves on?
Oh gosh. So it all started. I was going to school there in Medford, and our school had an event called Hooks for Books. And what they did is they put these boxing matches on for the school, which, other schools would fight against other schools. And what they would do is raise money for like libraries, books, things that was needed at the school. So, I fought in it, I joined it, and my first fight, I lost. I was embarrassing. I never trained a day in my life, but I enjoyed it. I thought, like, I like this, it's something I like doing. So I went back the next year and I fought both nights and ended up winning both nights. And I was like, okay, maybe this is something that, I should probably continue doing. So there was a gym about 45 minutes from my house. It was called Sparks Old School.
So how old were you when this all started?
I was 11. And so I ended up going to a gym, Sparks Old School, ran by Bobby Sparks. He fought Boom Boom Massini. And me and him trained alongside his son, who was going to go pro, Jacob Sparks. I trained with him for a little bit, end up, separating from that gym, and end up going with Noah Kirk from 304 Boxing Academy. And, he took me to a lot of fights. He took me up to the Junior Olympics where I fought a big name fighter now. And Noah really helped me, through the youth and coming up. And I kind of just separated from there and went to Hard Knocks there in Portsmouth.
Yeah, I have a lot of experience with Noah over the years, over a decade of knowing him. I think he's a great person, great coach. Like, he does really, really good with those youths back then when Zach Bartram and everybody was doing their thing. But not everybody has that. Like, not everybody gets lucky and gets to have a really good coach to work with. And it showed. Tell us about the experience. You've had a bunch of fights and a big time record in the amateurs.
Yeah, absolutely. Back to what we was just talking about with Noah, it was a very, very honorable thing to have him as a coach. A lot of people went to that gym, and if you know Noah just as me, Noah, he's the type of coach, he's not going to waste his time on you. If he feels like that you're worth something and you're worth his time, he will take the fights and put you to the test. But if you don't think you're ready, you won't fight. And I'll never forget the first time I met Noah. I'm ready fight this night. He's like, dude, you're not ready. I'm like, but I am. He's like, no, you're not. But I respect him for that because he didn't put me in a dog fight. He kept me safe. And which is totally fine. But anyways, with the amateurs, I hold it very, very well.
You're good. You're still good.
Okay, that cut off. I hold a very good amateur record. I've fought in the Junior Olympics. I fought in the Golden Gloves. I fought in the Gary Toney's Hometown National. I fought in a bunch of events. Right now I'm holding a very good record at 50 fights, record of 51 fights at 46-6. But at the same time, Chase, I can't let my amateur record get in my head when I'm going in the pros. I just, that can confuse me.
Well, it's two different sports. I mean, amateur boxing, as you know, in USA Boxing is a scoring system that really has to do with how many times you hit the other person, that kind of stuff, where in pro boxing, the guy may land 2 punches in the whole fight, but he could win. It is a different sport, but you learn the fundamentals. Like a lot of people don't really get it because the way I do my shows, but like I'm a big fan of USA boxing,
Yeah,
because of where we're at and different stuff like that. But like when I scout talent, even back in the day, I would go over to the different shows that the Handshaws were putting on and stuff, and really look at USA boxing kids coming up. That's where a lot of the great world champion kind of guys come from. We
right,
haven't had that in West Virginia really, and
right.
we're seeing you guys do that, so that's awesome. Now you mentioned Noah Kirk and different stuff like that. You kind of got back to boxing recently, in the past year or so. It became something that became important. Who are you going to be training with as we move forward?
I think right now, I would truthfully, I've been to a lot of your events in the past, recently, and I truthfully feel, with what I want in the boxing world, and the type of, you know, I don't really know how to put it, just what I want personally for me and my fans and those who support me. I truthfully feel like it would be an honor to go train with Joe Board and his fighters, and be up there with him. And I'm not saying go there every day, but just go up there, get the work in, get the experience. And even you go to other gyms, around Huntington, around Parkersburg, and mostly not just staying in one spot and training, but getting out there and trying other things, sparring different people, sparring, people you never met, training with them, because you can always learn from boxing. You can never stop learning.
So my actual like career was a chiropractor, and when I was in chiropractic school, that was one of the things was I didn't try to spend all my time learning from one other doctor that was older. I learned from all of them. The more
Right.
people you can get exposed to, I may pick up one adjustment from this guy and one
Yeah.
adjustment from this guy, but you end up putting it all together. You come up with your style. But it is good to have that working relationship. So on fight night, you're with somebody that if you get in the trenches and it's a tough fight, you're used to working with that guy, that consistency.
And any boxer, especially for me, I can't really speak on other fighters as well, but most importantly for me, when I'm in a fight, you know, training and sparring is different than when you're actually in a ring competing, because now, you're not boxing your friend, you're not boxing, someone who's going to take it easy. You're in there fighting for your life. So you got to make sure that the coach that is working your corner is gonna listen to you, B, you listen to him, but also at the same time, he's going to help you get out of them tough situations. For example, you're backed up in a corner, you're backed up against the ropes, you're kind of start panicking. Some boxers, they panic. Sometimes you don't know what to do. And that's when, you got to rely on that coach to step up and tell you which way to go, because you don't always see that in front of you.
Yeah, it does. It provides you with a different perspective while you're in the middle of a fight. He's observing it, and you can really I've seen some coaches carry some guys through some tough rounds in the pros, and then him kind of get his second win and go back to work. It's a good thing to have. And you mentioned Joe Board, Gary Wolf, whoever it ends up being. Like, there's a bunch of guys there in the area that I'm sure you'll get with. So here's the big news, man. We kind of let it out of the bag last night, but
Yep.
you people haven't seen you fight as much lately, but that card you were on back December 3rd in Huntington, I believe you probably had actually more fights and experience than anybody else on the card.
Really?
Yeah. And it's time. We've talked about it. You don't really have anything else to prove in the amateur rankings. Your business plan that we've put together for you is as solid as anybody has had coming out of the gates. And, June 18th, man, you'll be making your professional debut. You've signed a multi-year deal with us, and we're gonna make sure the training and everything's there so that you can reach all your goals. And we're tickled to death to have you.
Oh, hey, I'm excited. Like you said, we've talked before, and I told you, like, Chase, I want to fight pro with you, and it was more so like I don't know, but now it's like I get that opportunity. So if anybody who's watching this right now, I'm a very respectful person. I'm very honored to fight for Chase and to fight on his events. I'm very honored to have anybody out there in the crowd support me or watching me from home. But June 18th, I promise a knockout.
And it's going to be a little bit different. 10-ounce gloves. You're going to be in there with somebody who's getting paid some cash to beat you. They're going to have a bonus if they beat you, so that's one of the things. They're coming to fight. We'll get to see a little bit of you mix it up, maybe a little bit more than we have in the past. I'm excited about it, man. I think you're a great pro.
I feel like a lot of people that have watched me, there's two sides to me. There's one where I'm very anxious and I'm in there just to brawl, and that's not me. then there's other ones that have seen me box. And I feel like June 18th, my boxing is really, really going to show. And I'm going to show everyone, this is why I deserve to be in this spot at this time, at this night. And like I said, June 18th, again, back to what I just said, a lot of people have seen me fight and they see like, okay, like maybe he don't like being hit. His boxing name's Pretty Boy. Don't let that fool you, because if it has to, June 18th, it'll be a fight. I'll meet him right in the middle of the ring and we'll go to war.
And you can do both types of fighting. And the thing about it, people forget, I don't care if you're a 6'6", 300-pound heavyweight. The name of the game is don't get hit. And you're just good at it. When you're good at it, what are you supposed to do? And if you decide you see a weakness and it's time to fight, you can fight.
Exactly. Any good boxer can really tell when you're breaking down your opponent. Mm-hmm. You by his body language, how he's throwing back at you, if his hands are dry, you can just tell. So I'm very excited. It's going to be a lot different. I'm sure I'm a nervous wreck right now, but it's okay because June 18th, it's time.
So one thing I'm going to talk about this for just a second, and then we'll tell them where the pay-per-view's at and stuff. One thing that never gets brought up is, I have my own circle of people down here that I do business with and bounce ideas off of, and they help me structure things. One of the things that we really found that's very successful is a great fighter with a great following. Jordan, I don't know if anybody in our area has the type of following that you have. You got 250,000 people on TikTok pays attention. If you're getting a haircut, they're on there watching it, so I'm sure you're going to get a bunch of feedback and stuff, but we're excited to have a guy with that big of a following on our pay-per-view. And I'm sure you'll be near the end of the card, if not the end of the card.
Hey, absolutely. At the same time, you're right. I do got a big following base, but I came from a spot in life where I had to work for that. So it wasn't just given. So just like the night of June 18th, I'm going to have to work for it. It's not going to be given. But, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm glad I got a big following base, and, hopefully some fans off of that side can come and watch it or order the pay-per-view. But right now, really, that side really ain't a big thing to me right now. Winning June 18th is my main mindset right now.
Well, and first foremost, you're a boxer. You're a fighter. That's what you do. This other stuff that comes along with it's part of the business that we got to do to keep the lights on and stuff. But you're a boxer, and that's what really, we're not doing this as a publicity. You're a boxer. I want to see how far you can go in this. It's nice to have the other stuff. I told my kids, because I'm not a TikToker, so I asked my kids, I said, hey, how many people's a lot of people on TikTok? And they said, well, if you get to 1,000, you get to go live. And I said, well, how many does Jordan have? And my son's like 250,000. Like whatever the number was, he was blown away. And I'm like, all right, so this is great. But hey, first and foremost, I had you on the card last year and got to showcase your talents before I even knew some of that stuff. I'm excited to see what the future does for you. Your pay-per-view will be live at combatsportsnow.com coming up June 18th. Jordan Fyffe making his professional boxing debut. We'll have all the information on the opponent and different stuff as we move forward here. Man, get yourself ready. Stay healthy. This is something you've put a lot of time into to get to showcase finally, and then we're going to stay after it. Every 6, 7, 8 weeks, you're going to be in the ring. I'm excited for you. We're lucky to have you, and I appreciate you going out and trusting us and signing with us for a long-term deal.
Hey, I appreciate you. I think it's an honor to be fighting for you and on your cards. But at the same time, Chase, I appreciate you for trusting me as a fighter and trusting me to fight for you, because you're putting your name out there. So at the end of the day, I got to not only make a name for myself, but I got to make a name for you too, and what you're doing with all these fighters. You're doing great things. You're putting on amazing shows, probably one of the best shows that West Virginia has truly seen, truthfully. So it's just an honor. It's really an honor to be able to fight on the show, and especially fight pro underneath Chase Hill promotion.
We're going to do our part. We know you're going to do your part. It's exciting stuff, buddy. It's just maybe a month and a half away. You'll be a professional in the ring fighting pay-per-view. So we're excited for you. We'll check back in with you as we get a little bit closer. That way we can see how your first real professional training camp's going. Jordan, we're excited for you, buddy. Put the work in.
Yes, sir. Hey, thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks.